Welcome to the Moonbase Podcast. I am Moon Rider, or Moon_RYDR, where we talk about everything games related, especially. And today I would like to talk about the upcoming FanFest for Final Fantasy XIV, which is happening on July 28th and 29th in Las Vegas. I recently flew back from Las Vegas, and I highly recommend the Park MGM. It's fantastic, smoke-free resort if you're going to stay there, very affordable. And there's a whole host of lineups, and I'm just going to run through them really quick, as well as give some predictions for what we're going to see by the end of July. In terms of the structure of the festival, it'll be like previous years. You'll have Yoshida P take the stage and give usually a trailer for an expansion that's probably going to come out next year. I'm very excited to see that and what comes from it. But we'll also see a variety of other things, including cosplay contests, further descriptions of what's going to be added in the next expansion. And I'd like to give you just some of my predictions and things that are semi-confirmed, but that at this point are just predictions. One is the level cap will be raised from 90 to 100. That's sort of expected. I'm currently, if you've been following my Let's Plays, I currently have most of my job levels at level 90, and I encourage you to do the same in preparation for that expansion. There's usually going to be a dungeon or two that goes along with several new areas for the expansion that look to be very exciting. Patch 6.45 just dropped a week ago. This is mid-July in 2023, and so Blue Mage was expanded to 80, and there's new variant and criteria dungeons, and a lot revolving around housing expansions and other things. One thing I'm really hoping in a new expansion is a new housing zone. As you know, we have the 3 original from the Realm Reborn base game, which is Lavender Beds associated with Gridania, Mist associated with Limsa Lominsa, as well as the Goblet, which is associated with Ul'dah. And then in Stormblood, we had, in Kugane, we had Shirogane as a housing expansion for Kugane, which is a Japanese-themed area, which is fantastic and has some jumping puzzles in it. If you haven't done the Shirogane Tower, I highly recommend it. It's a fun jumping puzzle. But also, we have Imperium, which came out of Heavensward, which is more of a Skyrim-themed place that's out of Foundation in Ishgard. But what I'm hoping in this new expansion is that we'll have a new housing area associated with maybe Old Sharlayan, or, it would be wonderful to have Elpis housing. If anyone wants to travel back in time and still have somehow a house that you can travel back in time to, on a mystical kind of land where all creation's being made. But I just think that they should really take some risks with the new housing area, make it as desirable as Shirogane and Imperium is. But that's something that I'm really looking forward to. There's also going to be, you might have noticed in patch 6.45, 2 job crystal openings. And this leads me to believe that 2 jobs are being added to the game, not just 1. And I'm going to guess some DPS, maybe a casting and maybe a physical ranged. And this is just to balance out the number of tanks, healers, and different types of DPS that are already in the game. I think a Necromancer would be a really interesting magical type of ranged casting. And there's history in Final Fantasy IV of the Necromancer, from what I've heard. And for a physical, you want something... We already have sort of a steampunk machinist that uses guns out. We already have a bard that uses bows. Something that'd be really interesting would be maybe a whip, like Quistis in Final Fantasy VIII. Some sort of ranged whip user. Something that would be very unique. And maybe an Indiana Jones type character, if they're not going to add like a pirate-themed character or something like that, like a Corsair, which was in Final Fantasy V with Ferris. But with that being said, I hope everyone has a great time at the festival, and that we're all excited to see the new expansion trailer that's likely going to come out. Maybe see some of the new areas that are going to drop, hopefully you can test out some new jobs while there. They usually have some computers set up to test out any new features. And unfortunately, I will not be able to make it, but I just flew back. So go ahead and kick back, enjoy Las Vegas while you're there, and don't have too much fun. But I hope it's a wonderful trip for all of you, and I'm really excited for this upcoming FanFest.